Everybody, welcome to the Issue Crew. It's the show where we all have issues with our lives and with each other. I am your host, Riley, joined with a wacky cast of characters as usual. The only one who's actually a co-host and the one who will only be here for 20 minutes is Demigloom.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you, buddy?
I just want to say that if the thumbnail isn't me, like Hannibal Lecter in like a padded room, you gotta milk the shit out of the fact that I'm in a mental hospital right now.
Demigloom institutionalized? Exclamation point, question mark?
Yeah.
Hello, Demigloom. And we got double guests, double trouble tonight. First of all, we got Kang, folks.
What up, what up?
And we got RaggingGingy.
Howdy.
The same guests from last time, but with none of the co-hosts. Except for me, I guess. We're here. Get used to it. We're gonna shake up the order of things a little bit. I know Demigloom only has a certain amount of time, so we're gonna do an issue before we do the housekeeping. So we're gonna let Demi just lead us right in with our first issue of the night.
All right, folks. I have a very, very large issue to share with you guys, and I have a feeling that it's going to resonate with a very small fraction of our audience. Because let's be real, people that listen to this show are Riely fans. Because Demigloom fans have a little bit of dignity and don't listen to this shit. My issue tonight, friends, is non-tippers.
Okay.
There's a video that is circulated on the internet. It goes viral every now and then, or variations of this video from the same person.
No tip, I sip. Is that what you're about to talk about?
He's an Asian American man. I believe his name is I don't remember what his name is. I'd shout him out. But he basically does videos where he showcases that's a Lyft, or not Lyft, like a Uber Eats or DoorDash or Postmates customer did not leave him a tip or a satisfactory tip. And he records himself complaining about this lack of tip and then says, you know what? I'm going to look into this customer's food. And he opens up the bag and he's like, ooh, curly fries, my favorite. And then he takes a big bite of it and then he takes a big sip of their drink. And you know what he says? He says, no tip, I sip. And when I first saw this video, I was pretty outraged. I was like, dude, you don't fuck with people's food, right?
Yeah, no, that's how I currently feel, Demigloom. That shit is fucked.
And you know how I currently feel about it?
How do you currently feel about it, Demigloom?
I still think it's pretty fucked up. Don't do that.
Okay,
don't eat people's food because they didn't.
It's like a shitty that you're not tipping, but yeah, it's like a cardinal
don't
rule.
do that.
But also at the same time, it's like also another cardinal rule that if you know someone's going to handle your food, don't fuck with them.
Yeah. I honestly just wanted an excuse to tell the legendary tale of Mr. No Tip I Sip. I kind of hope he's doing well. I don't hate the man. I just think I think, honestly, I think it's worth it. I think he's a net positive for society for all the smiles and laughs he brings by making those videos. But yeah. Anyways. Similar thing, though. I remember, I was talking about, I was like, God damn, dude. This DoorDash customer service kind of sucks ass. Just because, I had, one bad driver and I was kind of venting, you know? And Riley was like, yeah, dude, all the time. Sometimes my food is missing or, they bring the doorbell, 5 times when I specifically asked them not to. And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, what kind of bad drivers do you have? And I remembered, oh, yeah, that's right. Riley never tips. Riley never tips anybody.
I tip now. I stopped not doing it.
Look, as a society, we have placed the burden of paying these people a livable wage on the customers. That's what tipping is, right? Tipping once stood for excellent service. It once stood for, you know what? I'm paying the normal amount for this product, but for your excellent service, here's a little something. And it was an occasional thing. It has now become obligatory, essentially. It is socially obligatory to tip. You know why?
Like this?
Huh?
And you like this?
No, and it's bad.
Your issue is non-tippers.
Let me get there.
Okay.
My problem lies with the institution of tipping. Tipping is bad. The need to tip is bad. Let me rephrase that. But I think, unfortunately, in the reality that we do live in, where the barista is only being paid $8 an hour and is relying on tips to buy cat food, because they're non-binary and they have like 4 cats. In that reality, it's pretty scummy to not tip them. Just a little bit, just tip them, man.
No, you know
just give
what?
a reasonable tip.
To play devil's advocate here, I think maybe we need to just give them a kick in the ass, because I think the reason why this institution will never change and has been the way it is for years, is you talk to all the you talk to any person who does a job where there's tipping and also is attractive, and they're like, "Oh man, no, I'd never want them to change how tipping works. I need my tips, man. We gotta stop giving them their tips so they'll finally fight the fucking power."
Look, man, they're trying to fight the power. They're trying to
No,
unionize.
they're not, because they get $1 million of tips from fucking simps all day, and then
That's just.
they're like, "I need my tips, man."
But they only need those tips in that situation because they're not making enough money.
No,
I mean, you see the Starbucks employees are trying to unionize like crazy.
They want tips because they get them every day. But they want tips because they get them every day. They want tips specifically because they get them every day.
I just think they want better wages. I think if you had to put a gun to their head and say, do you want tips or better wages?
I've talked to a lot of people that would say tips. I've talked to so many people that would say tips. They don't care what their fucking paycheck is. They care about the tips because they get the tips right away and they live day to day. That's just, they've been conditioned to live that way.
I didn't realize you were hanging out with supermodels. Jesus Christ.
I mean, honestly, I would want better wages.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that I believe it's in some states, actually, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there are certain fields where they don't have to pay people minimum wage because they get tips to make up for it, which is literally, that is literally the employer placing the burden of their paycheck onto customers. Which is really sad, you know? So until we have universal basic income, I think people should just be getting paid more. No, not that part. But yeah.
What do you mean?
I honestly think it comes down to the fact that...
Wait, what did Andrew Yang do?
Support Israel, have a bunch of weird, just a lot of weird takes that make no sense.
Okay, I didn't know that the supporting Israel. What's the other weird takes?
He's just like a weird tech bro.
That's base.
He's just so obsessed with tech.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, that's not awesome. Oh my God.
What do you mean?
As far as actual systemic sociological analysis of the world, Andrew Yang doesn't have a whole lot to offer. He kind of just throws around keywords. Don't get me wrong, he has a lot of good takes, but it's just I don't feel like he's really at a place to at least run the country in a way that I want it to be run. But I don't give a shit about Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang's not going to be president. So look, man, non-tippers, just tip, okay? Just tip while the world moves in the direction of people making enough money. And I truly believe. One could say that I dream of this. I have a dream that one day tipping will be based on the content of the service rather than the wage of the employee. But until that day, my friends, it's kind of our responsibility to give these guys tips. I'm sorry. It sucks. It's shitty. It's shitty that that's the reality of the world. But, I want that non-binary barista to be able to feed their 4 cats. I want that to be the case. And you can make a difference by tipping 27% at Starbucks to the person not who made your drink, but the person who handed it to you. That's what you need to do. Oh, you want to know something funny about this?
Wow, what's funny?
When I worked at Walmart, I would often
do they have you for tips at the mental hospital? Does the therapist say a little something for my trouble, buddy? Does it shake
That
a
would
cup
be
in front of you?
Does everybody know that I'm calling in from a mental hospital? I feel like that wasn't made
I
clear.
feel like kind of they know. I mean, we made that
I mean, I'm
institutionalized
just now
joke
figuring
earlier.
out about this. Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm doing good. Like, don't worry about me. I'm chilling. I'm enthusiastically, participating in treatment. Like, I'm cooperating. Everything's good. I'm not like, it's not like, I'm not like actually in like a padded room. I'm just like at a place where people are caring about me and like under some pretty intense therapy. That's all. But anyways, man, I just think people who don't tip are kind of assholes. And here's my sentiment behind it: is people who complain about, I can't afford to tip. If you cannot afford to tip, you cannot afford to go to that establishment. That is a part. That is a part of the cost. That is a part of the cost of Applebee's. That is a part of the cost of, I guess,
Nah, if
everywhere
you're in a
now.
bad way, you can fuck over one guy. Come on.
if you're having a bad day,
if you're in a bad way, like if you really want that burger at Applebee's, but it's just all you can afford without the tip included, then you know what? Maybe that one guy can just take an L just for you, the sad man with only $20 who really wants a burger at Applebee's.
if you really want a burger and you only have $20, don't go to Applebee's. Go somewhere else.
Maybe.
That
Perhaps.
Applebee's will charge you like $22.99 just for like a fucking
Applebee's is
like
just an
Dollar
example
Tree
anyway. I
beef
fucking hate
patty.
Applebee's.
Applebee's is
fucking
garbage.
sucks.
It's literally like instant like air fryer food.
Chili's is where it's at.
Chili's has really good wings.
Chili's has really good burgers, I think.
I don't eat burgers, so I wouldn't know.
Chili's did it. I had wings last time I went to Chili's though, and they were good.
Oh, you know what issue I should have brought in?
What?
I should have brought in food at this mental hospital.
You want to do a second one just real quick? Speed round. Mental hospital food.
Don't put this one on the list because nobody's gonna vote for it.
You don't want me to put it on the list? I think it'd be funny though.
Maybe, but like I don't want to like decrease the likelihood people will vote for non-tippers, but nobody's gonna vote for that anyways. Sure, whatever.
Okay, mental hospital food. Give it to us.
I just want you to imagine like the shittiest day at the school cafeteria. Like I feel like at the school cafeteria there was always like that one day where it was just kind of like
For me,
you're sitting there. You kind of
there was a quantifiable item to that, because not that it was a bad item, because there were many bad items, but the thing is, at my school lunch personally, they always had like 3 options, and it was like two options that would vary every day, or a peanut butter and jelly. So you know, the peanut butter and jelly days were like, oh, those other options were.
Yeah. I think the funniest part is that like at any like cafeteria, whether it's school or a hospital or a prison or whatever, the person that's making the food, they don't even want to eat that shit. They eat something else on their lunch break. I think that's all you really need to know, is that the person preparing the food doesn't even want to eat it, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like it's just goop that they put into a vibrating box that turns it into food a lot of the time.
Yeah, something that vaguely resembles a food item.
School lunch pizza fucking sucked. That's my hot take. And everybody was always so excited on pizza day. I never got the pizza. Fucking school lunch pizza sucked ass.
Dude, school lunch pizza was at least palatable.
Some of them, I guess there were different types of school lunch pizza. There was like the school lunch pizza where it was more similar to like a Tostitos pizza. It had like the little square pepperonis. Those were fine.
Yeah.
But then they
started
they started giving out like real looking pizza slices, and those tasted like shit.
You guys want to know about the pizza I had the other day?
What pizza did you have the other day?
This is actually a few weeks ago when I was inpatient. Yeah. So the pizza that I had in
Demigloom's handlers are checking in.
Yeah, my mods were checking in. Also, hold on, Riely, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be doing a podcast in here, but it's whatever. Yeah, sorry. The pizza that I had an inpatient a few weeks ago, which if you don't know, I'm in residential right now, and residential is where you like live there for like a month or two or like more. And inpatient is where they just like kind of send you there for like a week when you're like a threat to yourself and others and need to be under like care. So in inpatient, I ordered pizza because I'm like, whatever, it's like you, how bad can you fuck up pizza, really?
Pretty bad, as it turns out.
Riley, what I got, I'm not even sure if I would call this pizza. This was like, I'm straight up telling you the truth. This was like a tortilla and somebody like splattered like a tiny bit of like marinara sauce and then just sprinkled some shredded cheese and threw it in the microwave and the tortilla got like crispy.
It's a fucking Lunchables pizza.
It was worse than a Lunchables pizza.
Oh my god.
It's so disgusting.
Fucking Dollar Tree pizza.
Yeah, it was worse than like Dollar Tree pizza. It was so bad. Like the fact that the audacity to call that pizza. It was literally a tortilla with like marinara sauce and like a tiny bit of shredded cheese put in a microwave. It was so disgusting. Yeah, I mean like here you get some like undercooked chicken or like, and there's always a vegetarian option, and the vegetarian option always sucks. It's always like one of them was just like a bunch of vegetables and like guac in like a tortilla. Like it's more like what people think vegetarians eat rather than actual vegetarian food.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, vegetarians like guac and vegetables. Let's just throw it in a tortilla and they'll eat it. Yeah, that's some gross shit, man.
That's what they think of fucking vegans. Just like, throw some guacamole in a tortilla, call it a day.
And the funny thing about food here is like, the more good it sounds, like, it's like the worse it is. Like, if you're like in a shitty cafeteria and they're like, ooh, beef stroganoff, you're like, oh, that's going to be disgusting, right? Like, because there's no way they can execute something like that here, right? Or like Chinese chicken, or like, like sesame chicken with soy sauce. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds like good food, but like it's in a shitty cafeteria. There's no way they're going to be able to execute it well.
Yeah, it's going to be executed extremely poorly.
Chicken Alfredo was just chicken tenders in noodles with a shitty Alfredo sauce. Which was actually not that bad. I'll let you know.
That one was passable.
One thing that really did stand out, dude, the vegetarian chicken sandwiches, they tasted exactly like real chicken, like cafeteria chicken nonetheless, but very real. Like, definitely tasted like chicken. There was no like vegetable-y vibe going on. Usually with like vegetarian meat, even like the so-called like, like I guess impossible meat that's like supposed to be like just like real meat, like you could taste a little bit of vegetable-y shit in there. You know what I mean?
Wait, are you going full vegan? Were you eating fucking impossible chicken sandwiches?
Well, no, because oftentimes like the other option would just be so much worse that I would just go with the vegetarian option.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's bad. Luckily, it looks like they have like meal plans. So if you're like me and you have a lot of food sensory issues, you can talk to like the dietitian and they can like prepare some like mac and cheese or something on days that they make food that you can't like stomach. So It looks like I won't have to deal with it too much longer. But yeah, man, it's like it can get really bad. Mental hospital food. I mean, just hospital food in general. But I think it's really funny to bring in mental hospital food as my issue. So
you had to bring in some sort of mental hospital related issue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And you have to put me with like the.
It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you with the Hannibal Lecter like mask in a prison in a padded room. And
yeah.
Demigloom institutionalized.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna pimp it in your Discord server, and it's gonna get a bunch of views from Demigloom fans. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, no, I'll pimp it too. I'll add everyone. Did you see my server got a bunch of new members recently?
I did. I got because I'm a mod, I got like a notification about a suspicious amount of joins, and I was just like, oh, is Demigloom getting raided? But it knows because you posted the link on Twitter, and all the Keffels fans joined.
Keffels and Vosh fans, be a little more charitable.
Keffels and Vosh, yeah.
Did you see that I got canceled recently?
No, how'd you get canceled?
So I made a dumb tweet, right? Where did you see the Dave Chappelle joke about Jim Carrey that came out?
I know. What was the Dave Chappelle joke about Jim Carrey?
I'll just describe it briefly.
I know you tweeted something about Dave Chappelle, and
Yeah.
my buddy Jetbat just replied with a picture of Dick and Vito with the Dave is funny, jokes are funny signs.
Oh, great. So basically, this is what happens. And I take full accountability for the mistake that I made. The continuous lapse in judgment, okay?
A severe,
basically,
continuous
Dave
lapse in
Chappelle made a joke. Dave Chappelle made a joke very recently where he talked about when he got to meet Jim Carrey, right? Jim Carrey was doing a movie with Norm Macdonald where Jim Carrey played a different person, yada, yada. I don't remember who the person Jim Carrey played. But Jim Carrey played another person, and apparently Jim Carrey gets so immersed in his roles that he doesn't break character even when the cameras aren't rolling. So Dave Chappelle is ecstatic to meet Jim Carrey, and no one tells him that he's going to stay in character. And to make a long story short, Dave Chappelle is very disappointed in the moment when he gets to meet Jim Carrey, because he wanted to meet Jim Carrey, not this character. And Jim Carrey wouldn't talk to him to Dave Chappelle from Jim Carrey. He would just talk to him as the character. So it was like a weird, like, circusy kind of vibe. And then Dave Chappelle's like, anyways,
Was
that's
the
how
character
trans
Dr.
people make me
Eggman?
feel. No.
Okay.
So basically, Dave Chappelle describes this feeling of wanting to meet Jim Carrey, having these expectations for his character, and being disappointed. And he's like, anyways, that's how trans people make me feel. It's not really funny, in my opinion.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's funny that that's the leap. Like, what is the joke there?
The joke is just like trans people make me uncomfortable because I expect them to be their assigned gender at birth, basically.
That's not funny. There's a funny way to make fun of trans people, and that's not it.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, I believe that there is no subject matter that cannot be approached with comedy. Dare I say, you can be funny and also, like, transphobic. And I'm not saying that it's okay, but, like, you could at least be funny as a transphobe, right? There are funny transphobic jokes you can make. Now, I quote tweeted this Dave Chappelle joke with the following. This is what I said. Imagine if a white comedian kept on making jokes where all they said was they were afraid to walk next to black people at night. That's what I said. Are you guys still with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, just making sure. That's what I said. Dude, my mom stopped fucking calling me right now. I'm gonna have to go soon. I said.
Get out of my room, Mom. I'm on the issue crew.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Admittedly, kind of comparing. I didn't intend to, but I realized that I did inadvertently compare the consequences of racism with the consequences of transphobia, and doing so can be offensive. It can seem like oppression Olympics. It can seem like a lot of things. Long story short, probably not the best way to approach the subject. I apologized. I deleted the tweet. But the response from the response to the tweet was so ridiculous because when I said, imagine if a white comedian said this, they were afraid of black people at night, right? Riley, when I say that, do you think that that's me saying that that would be awesome if a white comedian said that? No. I'm saying imagine it because this is bad, because that would be bad in a similar way to the way this is bad. And a lot of people made the legitimate criticism of I am comparing these two things. I'm comparing the consequences of them and the gravity of them, which is unfair and it's stupid. You don't compare racism to transphobia like that. But there were literal people who were trying to, like, literally say that I am, like, a white supremacist for having made that point. And people were literally invalidating me as a trans woman because I had made that comparison.
Wow.
And and I lost a bunch of followers and, you know, a lot of controversy. A big fan of middle school GSA made a huge statement. Two fans, or two members of our community made big statements and left the community. And I'm just like, man.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, I'm just like, wouldn't the world be a better place?
Fuck?
Wouldn't the world be a better place if we could just, like, tell people, like, hi, I think this type of rhetoric has these social consequences and you shouldn't use it. I know that you
Listen,
didn't mean.
I'm not going to find them right now and tell you who they are on the podcast, but I independently am going to find out who these people are and make fun of them.
No.
Can I join in making fun of these fuckers?
Of course you can, Kang. Of course you can.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And see, like, people call me like the soy boy, like SJW cuck, but man, like, look at the people. Look at these people, dude. It's really sad. And honestly, to these people, I just want them to stop doing that. Like, I don't like, I don't hate them. I wouldn't leave their communities over saying this to somebody if they were otherwise great and supportive communities.
How have they not already left your community for like any other number of things? Like, if that's enough.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because they were new fans from the Ben Shapiro thing and didn't realize that, like, I don't know,
that you're a controversial figure in some way. You're not just the perfect little lefty.
Yeah, that I'm not like a 14-year-old with like cat pronouns. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't know, man. Yeah, that I'm not like perfect. That I'm not perfect. And the funny thing is, I think most people who are super hypercritical of these, like of stuff like that, I feel like most of these people themselves have like 4 Twitter accounts that they deactivated after being dogpiled by their own group. Because, like, how do you not make any mistakes? I feel like the degree of mistake that was it's a degree of mistake that everyone makes at some point on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we should completely ostracize people for making mistakes to the degree that, like a normal amount of mistake, a normal amount of bad. Like, I feel like that's like a level 2 mistake. Whereas, like, I feel like it would take like a level, if like, let's say level 10 is like, I cannot associate with this person anymore. I'd say that's like a level 2 mistake. We need to make the chart.
What is the highest level mistake that I've made? You don't have to say what the mistake was. Just what is the level number?
You've made some level 10 mistakes. Are you kidding me? There are mistakes that you've made that you've since disavow. I'd say that, like, I wouldn't blame people for not being friends with you over, like, at the time that they happened. Okay. But you're better now, so it's good.
Okay, I'll accept that answer.
And also, I'm much more capable than your average. I'd say much more capable than your average, like, online leftist, and even much more capable than your average human being of, like, just being around people I disagree with, which might be hard for some of you to believe. But let me tell you, my friends, is when it comes to being around people you disagree with, I think you guys overestimate humanity.
I feel like a lot of people, at least maybe in the past, I feel like this is maybe becoming more of a thing of the past, is just, but like in the before times, in the long ago, it seems like a lot of people would just like hang out and their opinions wouldn't factor at all.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't care what you thought about insert political thing here, or insert whatever here, insert fucking any number of like things happening in the world, or like important political shit, and just like vibe and have some beers and play ping pong or whatever. Like, you know,
you could absolutely enjoy the company of people who hold opinions. Dare I say, people who have bad opinions. God knows I'm friends with Kathy, God knows I'm on the issue crew right now. But I also, and again,
the issue crew is extremely largely on your side. I believe Demigloom. Like I think the farthest off is Mo Diggity, and he's not even. He's like centrist.
Mo Diggity's just incoherent. Like
he's incoherent, but we love him.
See, the joke is that issue crew bad.
Yeah. Okay. I was literally about to say, like, I feel like your career is like a two wolves situation, and like the calmer, gentler wolf is like middle school GSA in your YouTube channel, and then just like the evil wolf is like the issue crew and the MoCast and like all the shit you do with me.
The issue crew is like the part of like edgy era Demigloom that like I'm still a part of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you guys were you guys were the people that surrounded me during like edgy, like brony, like era Demigloom. Edgy, like, like just constantly making jokes about like incest and like horse fucking and just like stupid, politically incorrect stuff.
I feel like we've all calmed down since then. Even if I would still laugh at a lot of the things that maybe you wouldn't, but even I feel like have calmed down in terms of what I actually say and do.
All right, I do unfortunately have to take a piss and then call my mom. So.
All right, Demigloom. Thank you for calling in. I hope you can do it again before you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be a guest on this show.
it's an honor. The same thing I said to Kathy when we did that one podcast. Like, wow, it's such an honor that we had you on this show. That you won 6th home.
Yeah, I hope one day I'll come back on this show someday.
Wow. Someday.
Yeah, my name is Demigloom, and my issues were non-tippers, mental hospital food, and
oh god, oh man, I'm putting whatever you say on a poll. Be careful.
What was my next issue? I don't know. That wasn't really an issue. It was just a
getting canceled or something.
I thought you were just gonna make up some stupid issue that I was gonna put on the poll with no elaboration.
Unfair cancellation. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Or here's what I have to say: losing friends over politics.
Losing friends over. I'm not going to put that on the poll actually, but yeah, that is a good point.
That's an informal. It's an informal issue.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Good luck in your treatment, my good friend.
Yeah, no problem. I'm doing great. I should be back in like 2 months ish.
All right.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Nothing is for certain. All right, bye guys.
Night.
Later.
That was Demigloom, everybody, live from the Hooskow. Man, that was a great time. I miss doing shows with Demigloom. I kind of. It had been so long that I almost forgot our chemistry, and then me and her were just rattling off at it. You and Gingy barely got a word in, and I was like, man. There's electricity here. I miss this.
I mean, I'm honestly low-key shocked that she was in a fucking call with the likes of me.
I know. If it was a full show, she probably would have backed out.
I mean, I'm sitting here just huh? What?
There she is. Listen, I'm gonna get her to like you. It's gonna happen. We have to make it happen.
I mean, hey.
And then this is your test, because all the Demigloom fans are going to listen to this. Okay, Demigloom fans, don't click off. Kang's going to be the next one to do his issue, and if you like Kang, you should tell Demigloom that she should like Kang too. Demigloom, stick around, and hear what Kang has to say today. All the Demigloom fans in the audience.
Cuts to just an elaborate, commercial break.
Your issue's just leftist. Fuck them. I hate them.
For the most part, I would say, fuck a good majority of them. But
I mean, my Twitter bio says the leftist who hates leftists, so I agree with you.
But I only hate the radicalized ones. Anyway.
But folks, real quick, hold on. Before you do your issue, we had to talk about who won because we let Demigloom go before we did that. Because she had a timetable. Folks, last week we did a show. If you'll recall, the issues were re-entering the physical workplace, Apple Watches, brand loyalty, headaches, and fan projects shutting down. Now we got 4 votes. Here, 2 runner-ups with 1 vote each and a winner. The 2 runner-ups with 1 vote each were Apple Watches and headaches. So me and Andrew share the 2nd place spot. And the winner with 2 votes, fan project shutting down. Gingy, you won.
Holy shit!
You did it.
It's a miracle.
You're the big winner, Gingy. What do you have to say? What is your acceptance speech?
I was told there was going to be cash prize money, and I was lied to.
I don't know who told you that. I don't know what kind of weird producers are saying that. That's not real. But folks, Gingy won last week. Congratulations. But Kang is going to lead us off, or will Demi let us off. But Kang is going to go next. What is your issue, my friend?
My issue is electric cars.
All right.
This
Sure.
stems from the fact that, sure, an all-electric future was coming. Like, we all kind of figured it out from the start. But my thing is, for the price of a normal gas-powered car that could last me a good few years if I really maintained it well, did all the oil changes, all the fucking nooks, crannies, all the fucking bells and whistles. Yet when I get an electric car, and I'm going to use Tesla for this example, the most expensive part about the car is not buying it, but trying to maintain it. $14,000 for a battery, or however many thousands of dollars I have to put in to buy a battery for a fucking car that should be working. And not to mention, they say, oh, hey, but guess what? For driving an electric car, it's gonna be for free. Yeah, that's until fucking Elon had you install an update to your fucking car that taxes you for every time you drive it for however, long of a distance you go. I mean, sure, at some point, I've been told and I've been saying electric cars, I don't mind them. But when you're advertising them as basically, oh hey, the future of the engineering or whatever the fuck, and you literally have to basically make for the car to actually sound like an actual car, you have to give it the artificial noise. Why? Why? Stop it.
Just for fun, just for fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure it's for fun, but if I want, the actual fucking noise of an engine, like a goddamn V8 that sounds like a goddamn beautiful thing, I'm gonna buy an actual car that has a fucking V8 engine, like a fucking Hellcat. Literally, last year, towards the end of the year, the last production Hellcat, I think even Dodge Demon, rolled off of the fucking, assembly line. The last Lamborghini Aventador. The last fucking whatever, exotic sports car 9000 out there rolled off of the whole assembly line because people want an electric future, which honestly, I think it's gonna be fucking hard to do because if we're talking about at the end of the year, whenever we have to replace the batteries in the cars, most of those batteries are lithium powered. How are we gonna recycle them? How?
Got me. That's
I
just
can
because I
make
don't know
a collect
science.
call to the Energizer Bunny.
And plus, the funny thing is,
Get him in there. Go.
I mean, did you guys hear about what happened to the Energizer Bunny?
what happened to the Energizer Bunny?
What's this fucking shitty dad joke gonna be? Let's hear that.
He got arrested.
What did he
Why?
get arrested for?
He got charged with battery.
God damn it.
I fucking hate you for that, Gingy.
No. I've made a charge with battery joke before, but it's much better.
I don't know. I don't feel very energized at the moment.
So my father disappeared one day, and I found out that he was a robot secretly. Because I went to my mom and I said, "Hey, where's Dad?" And she told me that he was charged with battery. So it must be. He was a robot, as it turns out. If that's on Discord, nobody can hear it, but he just did a
And a fucking golf clap.
Good.
But
was that the inbuilt Discord one, or was that sound mod or whatever the fuck?
Soundpad.
Oh, okay, so they did hear that probably. Good. Gingy's on camera doing a golf clap.
Anyways, my whole thing is with electric cars and being able to recycle the batteries. Not even recycling the batteries. The fact that you are willing to pride yourself on saying, "Oh, hey, our electric cars are clean, renewable, fucking suck a dick, save a life," or type shit. You also got to think, Where are you getting that electricity to charge it? Most of the power plants that are around the world currently right now, some of them, I get it, yeah, they're phasing out coal power shit to go like solar, but most of them still have the coal and are fucking burning the coal. So when you really want to think more, what's doing more harm to our environment? Coal or like a little bit of gas that's being emitted from a fucking car? Just look at your power plant, and I think that rounds it out.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line because King Ming said so.
That's right. Kang, you gotta start pumping up your issues, buddy. These are supposed to be 15 minutes long. It seems like yours kind of usually falls short.
I'm sorry, my issue stamina hasn't been so hot lately.
You gotta start building one up. I'm basically gonna ask you to. You're just gonna be every fucking issue crew is gonna be featuring Kang at this point, especially now that fucking Mo Diggity is working 12-hour shifts at the fucking jerk off plant, and he's it's just gonna be. I'm not allowed to make Kang a member because then Demi will quit, but it's just gonna be the issue crew featuring Kang like every fucking week.
Well, I mean, like, it's like, I'm losing it here. It's like, I can't think of that many,
at this point, you're like, it's like fucking Opie and Anthony with Jim Norton. Like, it's just
right?
The issue crew featuring Kang, but you're just on every episode.
It's like, I pretty much, I'm like running out of issues, like content creators are running out of ideas in 2024. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, I've been doing issues for years, so I hope you're not running out of issues that quick.
Well, I mean, like, if something really irks me the wrong way and pisses me off, which probably wait till November of 2024 this year.
I did 108 episodes of issues before the issue crew even started doing them, buddy. There was a whole other show.
Yeah, but weren't you writing the coattails of Dick Masterson, though?
Well, we were literally doing exactly what we're doing here, except the branding was unapologetically a biggest problem ripoff. Like that was just, we went full into like a fucking parody ripoff, but like we were basically doing what we're doing right now. Like, it's just that now we're branding it like our own thing. We're not just doing a like parody bit anymore. We started our own show, and then we decided we wanted to do issues again, but now we're doing it less.
We ain't doing show.
It's still a ripoff, but at the same time, there are like 18 different shows with the same premise, including like Here's What I Don't Get, which is like officially endorsed by Dick. So like it's not like he claims any ownership to the podcast format of bringing in bad things.
I mean, if anything, I'd want to do like the fucking podcast format of Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee, fucking bad friends. Now that shit is fucking hilarious.
What do they do?
Shit. Probably fucking talk about shit, probably get heated, fucking.
Okay, the way you said, I thought they had like a particular format. I was like, what are they up to? What is the premise? What are they doing there?
I don't know. Fucking
bad friends.
The fuck's a premise?
Bad Friends podcast featuring Kang and Demigloom.
Oh no, if I'm gonna be honest, if me and Demigloom were to do a fucking podcast, that shit would get heated real quick.
And it wouldn't even be like about a political issue. It would be like you would like make a reference to something, and Demigloom would be like, "How is that funny?" And you guys would just like argue about that.
I would probably get fucking infuriated because I'm probably going to be explaining the goddamn joke half the goddamn times.
There is like, you're funny most of the time, but there's one thing that like kind of jars me about you, to get really honest, because I'm too high to have a filter and be respectful. There is this one thing that you do where sometimes you'll just be like, this is like this completely unrelated thing, and it'll be really jarring and not
ADHD is one hell of a thing, alright?
Yeah, I know, I understand. Like, because the thing is, you're doing what I got pissed at Crow for doing, but Crow had like no actually being funny to make up for it, while you do.
Yeah, well that's because Crow's fucking Crow.
Crow is an interesting fellow. I miss that. I miss that person. I miss them. They shout out to Crow Royalty, who's who's in a weird place in their lives.
Listening to
Our
Linkin
hearts go
Park.
out. Yeah. Crow Royalty's probably listening to Linkin Park like every day right now.
How's a place for my head? Is it really good, buddy?
They're listening to the song "Numb" on loop.
Maybe crawling because the wounds they will not heal.
But all right. I guess I got to do an issue now, huh?
Yeah,
So
what you?
I had like a bit, and now I'm like feeling weird about it, and kind of want to pivot because I feel like it's gonna be long-winded and not entertaining to a lot of people.
Bring on your issue, funny man.
I just thought it'd be interesting I thought it'd be interesting because like when you present an issue on this show, you're supposed to like if it's not obvious, tell everybody like what it is and why it's an issue. And I thought it would be funny. I was under the impression that maybe I would be here with just Gingy tonight, but I think this would be made at least slightly better with you also here, Kang. With an outsider perspective, to somebody who's never heard of him before, I want to try to explain and make the case for Maddox as an issue.
Honestly, whenever you call me up or whenever you fucking text me, it's just like, hey, you want to do this podcast? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm fucking tagging along for this shit. I'm like your ride or die, motherfucker.
Kang's gonna become my new fucking part. There's always like, I go through eras in my career where like I'll find like the one person who's down for anything, and then we'll just make like an absurd amount of content together. Until they eventually get too good for me and start doing other shit and phasing out of my life.
No, honestly, if a day ever comes like that, I would rather eat a bullet than do that, honestly.
Aww. But
let it be known, ladies and gentlemen, Riley slid a crisp $20 bill to Kang as he fucking said that.
Multiple shiny pennies were exchanged in this.
Multiple shekels were exclaimed for this offer.
But okay, I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to give the most like abridged version possible. Just give Gingy kind of an eye into this insane man who might truly be the largest issue.
Hold on, if we're gonna do this, I have to like set this up perfectly. Previously on Riley Ball Z Abridged.
I have done this issue before, but it was like episode fucking 7 of the old show, and it was bad, and I was young. So
trust me, we've all made mistakes when we were young.
So Gingy, pay attention here. You're in a class right now. I'm giving you a lecture.
Get a notebook and write this shit down. We are going to school.
That's right. Take some notes, Gingy. Oh, he's already sleeping in class. Damn it.
Wake up, Gingy!
So, one day on the internet, in 1999, I believe.
1999.
A website appears on the internet, on the young 90s internet.
Back in my day.
It might have even been 1995. Sometime in the 90s, a website shows up called The Best Page in the Universe. And the best page in the universe is this sort of blog belonging to this person, this persona who describes himself as like this awesome, like ass-kicking pirate type figure who is also like a king and is the most superior person to ever exist on the planet. And he goes simply by the title of Maddox. And he writes these silly little articles on the internet. I've got an example. So whenever I introduce somebody to Maddox and I try to make them understand like how funny they used to be in their writing on like the best page, like the reason why it took off, because the reason why Maddox is like at all like historically relevant is because a lot of people consider him to be the first internet celebrity. because his website is so old, but like just through word of mouth alone, it spread like wildfire. People knew about Maddox back in the day, who had the internet. Like he's considered like the first internet celebrity because he was the first like one guy to get something super popular on the internet enough that he became like a known public figure. So I've got an article here called "Anyone Who Doesn't Like Onions is an Idiot," which is a personal favorite Maddox article of mine. Every time, Jesus Christ. Every time someone's excuse me, I'm reading this terribly already. Every time someone utters the phrase, "I don't like onions," my face crumples up with hate that bubbles up from my pores and escapes through my cracked skin. If there was a service that specialized in punching a massive number of people, I would single-handedly keep them in business by paying for every last anti-onionite to get socked in the eyes. I like onions because I'm an adult. You may think you don't like onions, but unless you have the taste perception of a dog, you're full of shit. That's because everything worth eating has onions in it. Don't believe me? Here's a list of foods that onion haters like, despite the fact that they contain onions. Pizza. Think your rancorous hatred of onions is sated by not ordering them on your pizza? What do you think gives the sauce its flavor, dipshit? Burgers. Patties are seasoned with onion powder. Pull your head out of your ass. Stuffing. Onions make those giant clots of bread worth shoving into your ugly, hateful mouth. Onion rings. Inexplicably, some onion haters will order onion rings despite the fact that onion rings are made with onions. Well, I don't mind onion rings. So fried onions get to keep their seat in the front of the bus in your world? You know what? Don't eat onions. We don't need your charity. Ramen. Wow, more onions. It's almost like onions are in everything. Where have I heard that? Oh yeah, right at the start of this fucking list. Fried chicken. Keep shoving that breading in your tooth hole, lard ass. The onion powder in the batter gives your taste buds purpose. Gravy, barbecue, coleslaw, ranch dressing, etc., etc. Onions, onions, onions. Onions make you feel unstoppable. Now, this is where everything gets into an even deeper level. Everything has onions in it. I love onions with all my heart and soul. My girlfriend was giving me a piggyback ride to the grocery store the other day because I didn't want to scuff up my new shoes. She was huffing down the frozen pizza aisle when I overheard some hipster chick saying, "Ew, onions." I jumped off my woman's back and slid over like a smooth criminal. Her boyfriend shrieked, "Dude." Her boyfriend shrieked, "Dude, what's your problem?" That's when a clerk tossed an onion at me from the produce aisle. I immediately dropped into a handstand and donkey kicked the onion into the hipster chick's yapper. She started chewing like a horse and crying tears of joy. She was so happy that she gave me her number, which I drop-kicked out of her hand and into her boyfriend's skull. She asked me how she could ever repay me, and I gave her a stern look. She thought that look meant suicide. She was right.
Jesus Christ.
She said, "I know what I have to do." Then she waddled over to the houseware aisle, grabbed a potato peeler, and started peeling off her own face. Then I watched as she slowly ate her face for the next 15 minutes, piece by piece, until she bled to death. Her final words to me were, "Forgive me." I said no in sign language, and then she died.
I think we need to get the number of whatever fucking psychiatric ward that fucking Demi is in to fucking commit Riely, because after reading that shit, Jesus Christ.
Agreed.
I didn't write this. Maddox wrote this. By now, the manager of the store had come by and said, "Sir, you have to leave." But I didn't hear anything because I was thinking about something else. He then got a mop and tried smacking me with it. I ducked like a drunken master, then sprung back up and slammed him in the chin with my butt. He started crying hot, salty tears, so I hopped back on my woman's back to ride her off into the sunset. Just then, a security guard jumped out in my way. Big mistake. I shook my head and in one solid motion reached into my pants, took out my balls, and then in super slow motion, I swung them like a sling and smashed his face.
Riley, you got a fucking problem, dude.
What
Jesus
the
Christ.
fuck?
It caused severe fractures to the sinus, naso-orbital ethmoid, and lacriminal bones. He required extensive surgery and was never able to fully speak again. Onions rule.
Riley,
Yes?
what
Little
the
too.
fuck was that?
That was an article written by Maddox. And it's beautiful. This is why this kind of crazy out of pocket shit is why he got so popular in the 90s. Nobody was expecting this. And then he comes out with this shit about onions. He's talking shit about like iPhones and shit. People were into this. People loved the best page in the universe. People were into Maddox. Maddox became a household name among weirdo nerds who had the internet in the 90s and early 2000s, to the point where he wrote a book, The Alphabet of Manliness, which that book sold so well, and mind you, Gingy, he will never let you forget this. I think he mentions this literally every time he's ever said anything in his life. His book was a New York Times bestseller. So that's how popular this guy was at a certain point in time. So that's Maddox. That's who our issue is today. And now you might think, why is he an issue? Now that's a good question. At this point, and what I've described to you, not an issue at all. It seems like he's just an interesting, like weird, kind of quirky internet comedian, right? You know, harmless. But And that continued to be the case.
Take a shot, everybody, he said, but
Shut up. Make me think about that. No! That ruins every podcast where it's brought up. I'm gonna fucking jump off a ravine. So that's Maddox. Then there's this other guy. This guy, Dick Masterson. He is a satirist whose shtick is that he's just like unreasonably misogynistic. He has his own blog called Men Are Better Than Women. And his career sort of culminated in 2008 when he was invited on the Dr. Phil show. Back when Dr. Phil was doing this thing called House of Judgment, where he'd have a bunch of crazy people at the same time instead of one at a time, and they'd live amongst each other, and there'd be a bunch of reality show shenanigans, and Dr. Phil would like try to fix them or whatever. And Dick Masterson, I guess, convinced the producers enough that his shtick was fully genuine and real. So he was invited to Dr. Phil as like this like big huge chauvinist who they needed to cure of his hatred of women. And he just like trolled the shit out of Dr. Phil, and it was hilarious. it was beautiful. I highly recommend anybody look up the Dick Masterson Dr. Phil clips because they're high quality content. So there's these two guys. You got Dick Masterson, you got Maddox. They both wrote books with themes about manliness. You know, there's Men Are Better Than Women, which Dick made a book based on his blog a little bit after the Dr. Phil thing, or right before. Either the one very close in timeline. Dick wrote Men Are Better Than Women, and Maddox wrote Alphabet of Manliness. So, you know, it seems like these two have similar themes. And Dick had heard of Maddox, because again, Maddox was pretty big at this time, and he was interested in meeting him. So their books happened to have the same publisher. They arranged a meeting, and immediately these two hit it off. Dick and Maddox are the best of friends. They do comedy together at the UCB Theater in Los Angeles. They sold TV shows together. None of them made it to air, but they did sell them to networks. And it was a whole thing. And they decided within their relationship, there was kind of a thing where they would have lunch together, and Maddox would just complain about stupid shit, and Dick would argue with him about it. And that was just kind of how they spent their lunches. And eventually Dick was like, hey, this should be a show. And Maddox dragged his feet on it for literal years until Dick was like, you know what? I'm not having these conversations with you anymore unless we make it a show. So finally, Dick and Maddox come together and they start a podcast. And this is like right when podcasts started to hit the mainstream, right? This was like 2014. So like podcasts were kind of just starting to not be like this weird niche thing. Right? I don't know, maybe I'm too zoomer and my timeline on that is a little bit off, but I feel like it was right around that time that podcasts were like making a name for themselves.
I mean, you had back then people like what's his name? If you remember Woody's gamer tag from back in the day when he did all the cut comms for COD.
I don't remember him from any of his COD stuff, but I have listened to a lot of PKA. I know Woody from PKA, so
yeah. I remember mainly him doing all the cut comms from back in the day, but when I heard he did PKA, I started listening. I was like, dude, this is actually pretty fucking entertaining.
Yeah, Dick Masterson goes on there all the time, so I had listened to some of the episodes he was on. Asterios was on a couple. Those are also pretty good. Asterios will come up in a second. He at least is worth a footnote in some of the crazier shit that goes on. And I'm going to try to be less long-winded. I know it's already been 13 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to abridge it as much as possible.
Wendigoon was also on an episode, but what were you going to talk about, Riley? What's
the
issue?
So it's 2014, and finally Dick and Maddox have come together, and they start this show, this podcast called The Biggest Problem in the Universe. And the biggest problem in the universe turns out to be, in my opinion, the greatest podcast to ever exist on the planet. I'm not exaggerating, Gingy. I've heard many a podcast. We are mutual fans of a lot of podcasts. I think Blastburn Radio comes close. But Biggest Problem in the Universe, I think, is the best podcast to ever exist. This is the pedigree I give this show. And the premise is simple. Dick Masterson and Maddox, they come in. Each of them brings in one or two problems. They talk about, it could be anything from like cancer on like a really serious problem, or sometimes they'll do a problem like losing the television remote. It's a whole gamut of problems, and they bring in their problems. They argue for why they're problems, and then there's a big voting system, which is where the show is a lot more sophisticated than ours, because you might be hearing some similarities. We just run a straw poll. They had like a whole fucking website where like the voting was like you could vote on all the problems forever, and there was like a whole big board of like what were the top problems and like what were the not the problem. Like it was a whole big huge like thing. So there was a lot that went into this. There was Dick, there was Maddox. There was Sean, who was Dick's buddy from college, who happens to be a career audio engineer. So they got him in to help with the audio, and he started just like cracking jokes every once in a while, and he became like kind of a third guy. And so there's Dick, there's Maddox, and there's Sean, and they're doing this little show every week. It goes on for 2 years, from 2014, I believe it was the same month. I believe it was almost 2 years exactly. I believe it was May 2014 to May 2016. They're doing this show called The Biggest Problem in the Universe. It gets super popular. Millions of total downloads it gets to. And they have all sorts of cool guests. One of which is this guy named Asterios Kokonos, who's this like silly, loud guy. You may have heard him, Gingy. I don't know if you ever listened to the Pokemon Variety Hour we did about Pikachu. We had him as a guest. It was me, Odin, and Asterios. So like, yeah, there's that guy. There's all sorts of other guys. They're doing this whole big show. Then one day, Gingy, imagine you're a listener of this show. You've been following this whole thing for 2 years. It's just this fun little show where your good friends, your good internet friend simulators, Dick and Maddox, are just having a good time talking about problems. Then one day, May of 2016, the new episode comes out, and there's Maddox, there's Sean, Maddox and Sean. You know them. Asterios is there because he's a very common guest. Everybody loves Asterios. And those three, they come on the air and they're like, "Hey," and Maddox is like, "Hey, biggest problem in the universe? Yeah, that's over now." You know, the show has run its course. That's it. We're done. Like, it's been a great run. Thank you to everybody who made this possible, but it's time to move on. I'm going to be starting a new show. And this show is over. Goodbye. Now, that happens, and first of all, everybody's devastated, just on a general level, because their favorite show's over. But another interesting, weird thing that makes it more suspicious than it already would have been is, if you recall, I said that Maddox, Sean, and Mysterios went on air. There was a very important name missing from that. Dick Masterson was not only nowhere to be found on the final episode, but he was not mentioned. That Maddox spent like half an hour thanking literally everyone who had contributed anything to the show. The fucking thumbnail artists, the transcribers, fans who had sent in fucking packages, but Dick is not brought up a single time. The guy who's been on almost every episode, with the exception of one episode that he was not on, he was on every single episode, he was Maddox's co-host, not even mentioned. And that's it. That's the end of Biggest Problem. And the next week, as usual, everybody gets a pop-up in their podcast feed, but no longer is Biggest Problem in the Universe there. It's a different show called Best Debate in the Universe. It's got Maddox, and it's got Sean, but still no Dick Masterson. No mention of him. No even suspicion of the man. Just forget he ever existed. And another new show pops up called The Dick Show. It's got Dick. It also has Sean, but no Maddox. And Dick makes a very simple, very cordial statement where he says that him and Maddox had artistic differences. And he they had a fight, and he basically admits to that, but he does it in the most cordial way possible. The way he phrased it, I think, was perfect. He said, it all comes down to artistic differences, and we all know what that means. That there was just something that we couldn't proceed anymore. There were irreconcilable differences between the two of us. I appreciate the work we did together, but like it's over. So that was it. Dick and Maddox were split. They were doing their own shows, and that kind of shit happens all the time, right? Tale as old as time. You have a group or a duo that is really cool and good, and then they go their separate ways. Happens all the time, right? What I've described so far is a regular, normal scenario. Now, they progress a little bit more. And first of all, first thing that happens. Now, Gingy, imagine, right? You have a show that millions of people, not millions of people, but like it has millions of downloads. So thousands and thousands of people are like into it and downloading it all the time. And they love this show. And it's their favorite show with Dick Masterson and Maddox doing Biggest Problem in the Universe. Now imagine that show ends, right? And then the next week, you open up your podcast app, and the show is gone. And it has been replaced with one single episode, the first episode of the new show, of one of the co-hosts, without a single mention of the other. Completely different show. One of the main guys is missing entirely, and the old show is gone. Would that upset you, do you think?
Yes, because there wasn't any forewarning.
Yeah. So that happens, and everybody's pissed off. And Dick addresses it, and he's like, yeah, Maddox stole the feed. Like, he didn't have my permission to do this. He took the feed, he redirected it to his new show, and this is bullshit. And Dick kind of starts, like, just teasing Maddox on air, because it's ridiculous that he stole the iTunes feed. And radio wars are something that is as old as time. Like if you're at all into like talk radio, like the pre-podcast talk radio world where there's like Howard Stern and like all those shows, radio wars has been like a concept forever, where two different like radio shows will have like a feud where they like make fun of each other and they take pot shots at each other. And that's kind of what the Dick Show started doing to Maddox. Like they're just like, you know, they're making fun of him, they're taking little pot shots, they're just having a good time, making some jokes. Now if Maddox were a regular human being, perhaps he would just, you know, clap back a little bit. Just make a thing out of it, because that's how you get listeners. That's why radio wars are popular, because they generate numbers. Because the shows take pot shots at each other and people listen to the other show. It's like a whole thing. But instead, Maddox completely ignores everything and blocks anyone and everyone, and just like is just like super not addressing of any of what's going on. Cut to a few months in. And this is where I'm going to start speeding through Maddox's sins. I'll start taking multiple year time skips and like getting to all the crimes here. Not brutal crimes, but you know, criminally bad things. Cut to a few months in. This is episode 18 weeks into the new shows. Maddox drops a video called the real reason biggest problem in the universe ended, or like something to that degree. And it's this weird thing because it's like an unlisted video that's like password protected. And he posted it like on the Facebook page for Biggest Problem. And he does this video. And in the video, he's like, hey, I'm gonna talk about why Biggest Problem in the universe ended, because there's a lot of rumors and gossips going around, and I want to clear up the real story. And he makes a few main points about Dick Masterson. The very first point he makes is that Dick was, quote, talking behind his back. Is a Reddit thread where somebody was like complaining about Maddox, and they had said that like, I know he's your like they were talking to Dick and he's like, I know, and they were like, I know he's your friend, dude, but like, what the fuck, this guy? And Dick's response was, we're not friends. I can't stand the guy. I do the show for the fans and the Skrilla, the fans and the money. Which is, first of all, which is a conversation that Maddox knew about before the show ended, and Dick and Maddox had discussed and had it out already. And also, it's just like talking shit on the internet. He was pissed. The context of it was literally during a time where they were taking 2 weeks off of the show. Imagine this, Gingy, because I've taken over your show a million times. Like, even when I was in hot water with you, I've done your show when you weren't there. They had to take 2 weeks off of Biggest Problem because Maddox was like preparing to launch his new podcast network or whatever. Like, he had work to do. He didn't want to do the show. So they wanted to take 2 weeks off. And Dick wanted to just do the show with a guest, and Maddox wouldn't let him. Maddox said he was not allowed. He didn't trust Dick to make a podcast without him.
Seriously?
Yes. So the show goes off air for 2 weeks, and then as it would have it, when it was supposed to go back on air, instead the final episode aired and the show was over. And then, so the first claim is that Dick's talking behind his back. The next claim, and one much more egregious, is he says that Dick used to complain about him editing the podcast. And then Maddox justifies it by saying he edited it because Dick said things that were incompatible with his values. And the clip he plays, in the context that he's playing it, is trying to imply. So I want to see. So I'll say first what he was trying to imply, and then I'll say what the actual conversation was. He was trying to imply, or at least it seemed like he was trying to imply, that Dick Masterson is a rape apologist. And the clip that he plays is a conversation that was cut out of an episode of The Biggest Problem, in which Maddox was saying that if a woman passes out at a party, she shouldn't expect to get raped. And Dick's response was, yes, she fucking should. And the point that he was making was that you have to protect yourself. You have to make an effort to protect yourself because the world is a dangerous place. Like it shouldn't be the case, but it is the case in this crazy, awful world that if you pass out at a party, there's probably a decent chance that you are going to get raped. And that is the point that Dick's making, that you have to protect yourself. But Maddox tries to play it out of context and paint it like Dick is a rape apologist. And his final point is that to bring this home, he plays this clip to try to make it look like Dick is a rape apologist. And his big kicker is that Dick created and maintained a rape list. Now this rape list was a board on a website called 8chan. Now, you probably don't know what 8chan is. I assume you've at least heard of 4chan. 8chan is 4chan, but worse.
It's 4 more than 4chan?
Yes, so it's 4chan, but doubly bad. And so it was the Dick Show 8chan board, and it was just this board of like pictures of women. And the name of the board was something like really vulgar and horrible. Like it was like list of like horrible cum gutter sluts that should get raped or like something horrible. But first of all, the thread was filled before people started getting weird in there. The thread was just filled with like Bugs Bunny and drag and like just like a bunch of obvious like joke things. Even though obviously it was like super vulgar and like kind of fucked up. First of all, most of the pictures in there were jokes. Until like weirdos went in there and started posting pictures of like women associated with Dick and Maddox. But the other thing is, Dick didn't even know this existed until he saw the video. This was not a officially endorsed Dick Show 8chan board. This was a Dick Show 8chan board made by fans, not officially endorsed by Dick Masterson. But Maddox makes it seem like it's like personally Dick approved, maybe even personally made by Dick himself. And Maddox spreads this video around to their real friends in the LA comedy scene. You know, LA, where if anybody even has like a ghost of a chance of getting canceled, everybody wants to get 10 feet away from them immediately to save their own ass. So Dick gets completely ostracized from like all of his friends. He gets banned from the UCB Comedy Theater. A bunch of people just stop talking to him. And like, it doesn't ruin his life because he has like a normie job. He has friends who don't care about that type of shit. He's not like in any trouble, but like he's trying to make a name for himself in like in the LA comedy scene to some degree. And Maddox absolutely destroys that with this fucking completely bullshit horseshit video. And this is insane because Maddox is somebody who people liked. People looked up to Maddox. People enjoyed the things that he was making. And then suddenly this guy who they had been following for years, and, you know, they were kind of on the ice with him because, you know, he stole the iTunes feed or whatever. They're listening to Dick make fun of him. But they don't hate him. Because, like, he made a couple bad decisions, whatever. Maybe him and Dick are in some big fight. But, like, he's still Maddox. But then this shit happens. And you can just tell how disingenuous and garbage he's being. And now, Gingy, you think the podcast broke up? What would possibly be Maddox's motivation to go this hard? Do you have any game theories as to what his motivation might have been?
Just to hurt him? I don't fucking know.
Just to hurt him, but like why? No reason? Okay, so there is a reason. There is a girl. as all great wars between men start, there was a girl.
I mean, honestly, I would think of the theory being more or less, if I can't have it, you can't have it.
Yeah, so Gingy doesn't quite understand that yet. I have to explain. So there's a girl, colloquially known, her alias that she is officially referred to by in the Dick Show continuity is 80s Girl. So there's this girl called 80s Girl. And she was Maddox's ex-girlfriend, who he had dated about 3 years prior. It had been multiple years since he had dated this woman. And also at this time, Maddox had a current girlfriend who he lived with. He had a new girlfriend who he was serious enough to have moved in with. He had been broken up with this woman for 3 years. And as it would have it, Dick, 80s Girl, and Maddox happened to all attend the same wedding. And at the end of the night, Dick left the wedding with 80s Girl.
Damn!
And Maddox starts freaking the fuck out. He is blowing up her phone, blowing up Dick's phone, going absolutely ballistic. Because Dick is a drunk driver. Oh my god. Oh, he's just going crazy on both of their phones. So they leave the wedding together. That's all he knows. That's all anybody knows. He calls Dick the next day, and he's like, Did something happen? Did you guys have sex? Because if you did, if the answer is yeah, I need you to be honest with me, because if the answer is yes, I will be so distraught that we can't do the podcast anymore. Now, at this point, Dick is kind of pissed off because, like, it's a woman who he's had nothing to do with for years. He already has a current girlfriend. And yet Maddox is so invested in this woman that their podcast, where they are making money, they have thousands upon thousands of fans. He's going to let Dick just sleeping with this chick who he dated 3 years ago completely destroy it all immediately. So Dick,
that's one of the broses in the Brobel, dude.
It's one of the broses in the Brobel, but first of all, like, that's kind the Brobel is kind of an annoying thing to follow. Like, the Brobel is kind of an immature code. A lot of people follow it to the letter, and that's honorable to a degree. But like, you have to understand, Gingy. It had been multiple years.
Well,
He had a new girl already who he lived with, and he was this invested in his ex.
It's still the fact that your best buddy is going after a girl that you used to have feelings for. I can understand being upset, even a fraction, right? Not excusing the behavior. You can understand
being upset, but if this happened to you, you probably wouldn't accuse them of being rape apologists and ruin their comedy career, right?
Oh no, absolutely not. Like, I'd be a little pissed. Like, hey, bro, that's fucked up. Fuck you. But I wouldn't absolutely destroy the man's career over it.
So
now, if it was a current girlfriend, oh hell yeah, game on. Like, I'm going fucking scorched earth on your bitch ass. But
so he says this to Dick, and Dick, having an understanding that, like, the show is something special, a lot of people love it, it's a good thing, that it would be ridiculous to throw away, says no, nothing happened. And
he lied, didn't he?
He did lie. So Dick says no, nothing happened. And Maddox, first of all, Maddox he accepts that answer as truth, but he's like, even though nothing did happen, this gives bad appearances, and I'm very upset that you would make me appear badly. So I don't want you in my, like, house for episode 77. This was between episode 76 and 77. Like, he made Dick take episode 77 off. Which is why there's only one episode that Dick missed. It was because Maddox forced him to miss it.
And yet the one thing we knew about Dick and the chick,
they were doing Bow Chicka Wow Wow. So eventually Maddox finds out. He melts down, goes crazy. Podcast is done. He records a final episode with Sean and Asterios. Doesn't mention Dick once. Does it kind of behind his back, even though Maddox will make different claims later. That does it behind his back. They record the final episode without him. And then Maddox just dedicates his life to fucking Dick Masterson over. Because the thing about it is, Dick always has this over him. Because Gingy, him and this girl are together to this day 8 years later. So, Dick stays with this girl forever. And so Maddox at this point decides to dedicate his entire life to just being a scumbag. Like he like, I think he like called the police to like investigate Dick for drugs at some point, or at least threatened to. There was like a thumbnail artist from The Biggest Problem, like a girl who was gonna come down to LA and stay with Maddox, and they were gonna like, you know, hang out or whatever. And the girl had scheduled herself to be on both Maddox's show and Dick's show. And when Maddox found out that she was scheduled to be on Dick's show, Maddox told her that she couldn't stay with him anymore. Not only could she not be on his show, she was not allowed to stay with him anymore, which is really fucked up, because when you go to LA and you've never been there before, you kind of want somebody who knows where they're going to show you around. And Maddox completely upends her plans because she dared to schedule herself to be on Dick's show. And he makes the rapeless video, obviously.
What a piece of shit. God damn.
Yeah, he makes the fucking rapeless video. He ruins Dick's comedy career. And then there's a few more things that he does. Let's go down the list here. The next big thing is Maddox suddenly, apropos of nothing, like weeks and weeks after the rapeless video and shit. After the rapeless video, by the way, the Dick Show goes full in on Maddox, shitting on Maddox, making fun of Maddox, doing bits about how stupid Maddox is, about how big of a cuck he is. Just full on fuck you, Maddox. That's what the Dick Show becomes. And the first move that Maddox makes is suddenly, Kang, what is that noise?
Oh, sorry about that.
Suddenly, secretly, without Dick's knowledge at all, he just like hears whisper of this. Maddox, on his own, files for a trademark for the biggest problem in the universe.
Oh no.
So he tries to file for an exclusive trademark to this show that him and Dick ran 50-50. And so then it becomes a court thing. And Dick has to like defend that he is entitled to part of this trademark in court. Oh, and by the way, no, this is not the first time it goes to court. Actually, Gingy, you want to know how many times this story goes to the court of law? Three times. That was the second time that I just described. The first time is Maddox convinces his girlfriend to call the school that 80s Girl works at, because 80s Girl's a teacher, and try to get her fired.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
So 80s Girl had to go to court to get a restraining order against Maddox's girlfriend.
This is insane.
That was the first time it went to court. Now, what I just described to you, completely insane, right? You want to know what happens next?
What's up?
So all of this happens. There's the trademark dispute going on. That's still active. They're in court, like talking about that. Suddenly, and you know they're making fun of Maddox. Amazing content making fun of Maddox. Asterios, their common guest from Biggest Problem. He's fully on Dick's side. He makes a Christmas album called Cucksmas Carols, where he just sings like he makes a bunch of Christmas carols about how Maddox is a cuck. And it's great. So the Dick Show's just having a great time ripping on Maddox. There's this dumb court thing going on with the Biggest Problem trademark. Maddox is not addressing any of this in public. Like, besides the rapeless video, he says like nothing. Ever. For a very long time. But then, you know, they were having a little too much fun. So suddenly, Dick and Asterios both get served with a lawsuit. A lawsuit from Maddox in the amount of, for each of them, $20 million.
Oh, shit!
I think at this point, like, we're just wrapping up this episode with this fucking story because it's so goddamn long. And I'm all for it.
$20 million. This lawsuit is served to Dick. It is served to Asterios. It is served to a guy from Texas named Tab, who called into the Dick Show playing a character called Mad Cucks, where he did a parody of Maddox and made fun of Maddox. Actually, it was never served to him, thank God. He, dodged it. The lawsuit was served to Patreon, because I guess they wouldn't ban Dick, and that was a suable offense. The lawsuit was served to a PR company where Asterios worked. The lawsuit was served to the company that Dick owns part of. So, lawsuits going everywhere. Each party, $20 million. The total is $400 million.
Oh my god!
So Maddox files a multi-million-dollar harassment defamation lawsuit.
What the fuck? Holy shit!
So, and the lawsuit, funnily enough, worst written lawsuit to ever exist. It's so dumb. There's no solid claims. There's no evidence. There's jokes in the lawsuit.
Oh my god.
It's so bad. It's the most incompetent lawsuit in the history of the world. But the thing is, every time Maddox did one of these things, Dick made more money on Patreon, without fail. This time, a ridiculous amount of money. You know how much money Dick makes on Patreon right now? Just, what is a really high Patreon to you? And I guarantee you will shoot too low.
Probably about $1 million.
Okay, well, first of all, who's making $1 million on Patreon? Who have you seen making anywhere close to that on Patreon?
You would be fucking surprised.
Yeah, Gingy, if you realistically imagined a pretty high Patreon, what amount would you put on that?
100,000.
Okay, it's less than that. You both failed the exercise. But the point, most podcasts on Patreon make maybe a couple thousand. Dick, I believe right now, is making $22,000 a month.
No
shit. So let me fucking do that kind of shit.
Yeah, $22,000 a month. Because Maddox goes so crazy. They're trolling him. They're making dumb jokes about how he's a cuck. They're telling dumb stories about him being incompetent in the LA business scene. And Maddox freaks out, tries to convince everybody that Dick is a rapist, and then sues everyone for millions in the most incompetent lawsuit in history. So he becomes the laughingstock of the fucking world. Everybody's ripping on this lawsuit. The lawsuit has no merit at all. There's so much good content just comes from ripping on Maddox and his stupid fucking lawsuit. Unfortunately, it kind of destroys Asterios' life because he's poor and those legal fees kind of pile up. Dick happens to be rich, so it didn't really affect him that hard. My heart goes out to Asterios. I think he only started to recover from that. This lawsuit was filed in 2017, and I think he really only started to recover from the legal fees in 2021. It was when I think he paid off his last legal debt.
Honestly, that's good to hear, man.
So yeah, he's finally out of it now, but it really fucked with him for a while. So Maddox is an absolute scumbag, and everybody it makes fun of him, and it's beautiful.
He fucking deserves it, honestly.
One of the events that I would like to shout out, this is the funniest revenge thing. So Maddox, if you'll recall, Maddox stole The Biggest Problem in the Universe iTunes feed and redirected it to his own show. That was one of his first. That was his first big crime. Guess what he forgot to do?
Change the password for that?
He forgot to change the access. Yes.
Dumbass.
So when Dick, and it's very poetic because the only reason Dick noticed is because he was he was looking at iTunes trying to find stats for his archive feed of The Biggest Problem to prove that people were still listening to help him in his trademark dispute. And he accidentally logged into the wrong email. And just there it is. The Best Debate in the Universe podcast. He has full access to the fucking iTunes feed.
Please tell me he deletes it.
He doesn't delete it, because that would be too easy. That would be a really dick move, because there are people who enjoy the show. So, just deleting their whole show, that would be kind of an asshole thing to do. So instead of doing that, Dick, he just records a little message to go in front of Maddox's new episode. and he just like, can I play this? Hold on. Do I have a fucking music bot in here? I think I do. Does Jockey work with YouTube? I don't know if Jockey works with YouTube. I don't know if anything works with YouTube anymore. Is anybody, Jones, if I take like 2 minutes to get a clip up, is anybody going to complain?
I don't care. But at this point, are we ending the show with this story?
If you send it to me,
I would like you to get a brief issue.
Okay, I can do a brief issue. That's fine.
If you send it to me, I can download it. I can download it and play it through my soundboard.
Oh shit, that's a good idea. Okay.
All right, dude, this is gonna be fucking great. Bear with us, folks. This is gonna take like about a second or two. I guarantee you, probably by the editing gods, it'll probably jump cut. Either that, or we'll fill time by just.
Thank you, Jason.
We love you, Jason. You know what?
We love our Jason.
You know what? Let's give a round of applause to Jason. Give that man a round of a fucking applause for putting up with our bullshit. That's the real editors we need in this world. Give it up for Jason, everybody.
All right, so okay, Kang.
Somewhere Jason is just like, I can feel it, is smiling right now.
I don't know if he's smiling. He might be grimacing.
Grimacingly smiling. All right. Here we go. We are downloading that. Get link. For it being a 2-minute video, this should only take like a second or two. Yep. Matter of fact, just got done. All right. Dick clip going live in. Hold on. Let me. Come on. Drop it in the fucking. Hold on. Bear with me here. Okay. It's not wanting to add to the fucking thing.
While you're doing that, I have a pro genius strat that I did earlier.
What was your pro genius strat?
Well, it is snowing, and we're in like a severe winter storm warning. And so my genius ass, those like sunshade blind things that you set up in the dashboard, to block out the sun, and it's got that silvery reflective crap.
Yeah.
I took that, but put it on the outside. And I obviously secured it by shutting it in both of my front passenger and driver door. But I have that on the top, on the outside of my windshield. So tomorrow morning when I get up to get ready for work, I can just pull that thing off the windshield and there's no ice or snow at all on my windshield.
Okay, I got the audio bit ready. Are you guys ready?
Let's hear it.
Wow. Hey, everybody, this is Dick Masterson. You are listening to an episode of the best debate in the universe, or the biggest debate in the universe, whatever the fuck this show is called. I don't know why you're listening to this shit, but you are listening to it. There is nothing wrong with your audio player. I just wanted to talk to you for a quick second before I return you back to your show. If you missed me, and if you ever wonder what happened to the biggest problem in the universe, head on over to thedickshow.com or patreon.com/thedickshow, and I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you about how Maddox threw a gigantic tantrum over an ex-girlfriend and ended what is one of the greatest podcasts the world has ever seen. I'll tell you about how Maddox's girlfriend, Metal Jess, now has a restraining order against her for calling that ex-girlfriend's work and trying to get her fired, lying to get her fired, sobbing about it in court. I'll tell you about the $20 million lawsuit that Maddox filed against me, Asterios, Patreon, everybody's place of business to try and get us fired, that he just lost in court because he's an incompetent fuck who can sell books as well as he files lawsuits. You can hear the breakup letter that Maddox wrote to his ex like a whining baby bitch jilted lover. We read that.
God damn.
You can hear about the video Maddox made calling me a rape apologist. The original troll on the internet, Maddox, sues people for making fun of him. Hear all about it on thedickshow.com, patreon.com/thedickshow. Oh, yeah. You can also hear about the feed Maddox stole from the original show and redirected to his new show, which is why I can do this, Maddox, you stupid motherfucker, you incompetent motherfucker. You steal a feed and you don't change the ownership, you dumb, bald fuck. You fucking idiot. Go back to Utah. Go back to Utah or go even further than that, man. You do not belong on this world. You sue-happy sack of shit. Come on over to thedickshow.com. We'll talk about it. I'm there. Sean's there. Asterios is there. Asterios, who is now fired because Maddox pretended to be a woman online and pretended to be a female journalist and emailed Asterios' bosses saying that Asterios is an alt-right. Like, such a fucking crybaby. Fuck you, Maddox. Fuck you. Get raped. I now return you to your podcast, which you should unsubscribe from.
I watched this man on fucking Pixels, Polygons, and Fun. Jesus Christ, he sounds like a gem. We got him
on largest issue, and it was fucking great.
Riley.
I tried to get him on Pixels a long time ago.
I need you to listen. I need you to listen to me. All right.
Yes.
Do you have your listening ears on?
Yes.
Get this motherfucker again.
I don't know if I can, because the only reason why I got him is because he does this bit, right? Where the original Biggest Problem in the Universe ended with episode 107. It was the 107th episode was the final episode. So Dick does this bit where, because he never got his own 108, he collects 108s. So he'll go on any podcast, but only on episode 108. And to be clear, Gingy, nobody else on Pixels knew anything about him, but I did try to get him for episode 108, and he said he would come on. I believe I did tell you that we were having a guest for 108, and that he was a big guest. But then he just didn't show up. So, but we did. Well,
I'm gonna need you to try again, because this dude sounds like an absolute gem.
He is a gem, and you should listen to his show. Check out the Dick Show or Biggest Problem in the Universe, because there is a new version with not Maddox. Version with Maddox.
Magic, Riley.
Maybe I'll see what I can do. Where next? You see, the next time I contact Dick to come on a show, it will probably be for Detour Ahead 108.
Dude, honestly, if you do get in contact with Dick, let me know. I want to meet this motherfucker. I want to meet him.
Well, we'll see if Alex wants to let you in on that, or if she wants it to herself. Because the thing about Dick is great, Gingy, and you get the endorsement doesn't just come from me. Alex just binged almost 400 episodes of the Dick Show, which is how many episodes there are now. The one that just came out yesterday or today, I believe, was 392. Because he's been doing the show weekly since fucking 2016. Plus the 107 episodes of the old Biggest Problem and half of the new Biggest Problem, like 50 episodes of that, in 7 months. That's how deep I got Alex into this shit.
Dear God.
So anyway, long story short with Maddox, first of all, to explain the impersonating a female journalist, he did try to get Asterios fired by claiming he was a journalist named Heather S. And that Heather was writing an article about alt-right internet people or whatever, and she was asking them about Asterios. So he tried to get Asterios fired by pretending to be a woman and telling his boss that he was alt-right, whatever. So long story short, Maddox loses the lawsuit. Obviously, it's the most incompetently filed thing in the world.
I guess you could say it is the most incompetently filed thing in the universe. The
most incompetently filed thing in the universe. Let me tell you what happened with this lawsuit, okay? An important thing that I have to say. Shit, hold on. Fuck, hold on. Damn God, fuck.
What the fuck is Maddox even doing nowadays?
So we'll get there in just a second. Hold on.
Killing me, Smalls.
Okay, I mean, Gingy, before I tell you about what Maddox is doing now,
can we play on the whiteboard, Riley?
No. Before I tell you about what Maddox is doing now,
bitch,
I have to tell you what happened in the lawsuit, which can clearly be summed up.
Why is this giving me fucking Mega XLR vibes?
So Maddox lost the lawsuit.
Good.
And so for years, Maddox does not interact with Dick at all. Dick just relentlessly makes fun of everything he ever makes, because at this point, he can't even be funny anymore. He used to be funny. Biggest problem in the universe was the best podcast to ever exist. He wrote funny article. He used to be funny. But now, he can't even be funny anymore. I'm a defender of the best debate in the universe. That's my weird take, is I think that show is good. But anything Maddox has made post best debate, and a lot of the things he made during that time that weren't best debate, awful. And Dick just like relentlessly makes fun of everything he ever does. He starts streaming on Twitch as like a cowboy and a banana. And everybody makes fun of that. He's doing all this silly shit, and he's not addressing the drama. Until one day, he posts a video called, "Is Justin Wang a plagiarist and a hack, or just a plagiarist?" Now, Gingy, have you heard of Justin Wang at all?
No.
Okay, so he's a fairly popular YouTube guy. He does the YouTube series called Tales from the Internet, where he talks about crazy shit on the internet. Very popular YouTuber, very beloved, very well liked. And Maddox posts this video called, "Is Justin Wang a hack and a plagiarist, or just a plagiarist?" And in the video starts how you think it would. Like, he's making this dumb point about how Justin Wang doesn't properly cite his sources or whatever. He spends a bunch of time making fun of him for being in a new metal band. Like, it's just this, because that's what Maddox does. He's just doing this fucking video, just like making fun of him, and then saying that he's a plagiarist and making a bunch of autistic points about how he doesn't cite his sources. But what you start to notice is he's doing all of that, and he's about 20 minutes into the video, and the video is 50 minutes long. And you're like, okay, how much more could he possibly have to say about Justin Wang? Until you realize Justin Wang is a close friend of Dick Masterson and has been on Dick's show a few times, and has been in the circle, been in the community. And suddenly, Maddox starts to talk about how there's a dark side to Justin Wang, how he associates with a hate group who stalks and harasses people on the internet. And the group he's referring to is the Dick Show community. Because they just make fun of him all the time, and he's like, "Oh, they're harassing me, oh, they're criticizing me because I sued a man for $20 million, oh." So he's like, he's part of a group that harasses and stalks people. And he even became friends with one of the main members of that group, a guy by the name of Asterios Kokonos. Now, Gingy, you have to understand at this moment, so Maddox, this whole time, this whole drama, we're getting it all from Dick, because Maddox won't say a fucking word about it in public. And then suddenly, years later, when at this point everybody's like, I wonder if Maddox has just given up. They don't think he even cares about Dick anymore. Like, maybe he's just going to move on from this. And then he puts out this video, and you hear him say the name Asterios Kokonos for the first time in 5 years. And mind you, Asterios has not messed with Maddox in years. Asterios distanced himself from the Dick Show a long time ago. I don't think he's said the name Maddox since like 2020. And suddenly Maddox is like, here's this guy named Asterios, and here's why I had to sue him, because he was harassing me, and he's a bad guy. And just suddenly, out of nowhere. And it's the most insane shit. But the whole time, he refuses to mention Dick Masterson by name. He makes references to the guy who like runs the hate group and how he's an obsessed stalker, but he does not say his name. once. It's all about Asterios. And everybody's like, is he just targeting Asterios because he knows Asterios isn't going to fight back anymore? Or does he have more? And that was the question for many months. Until suddenly a video drops on Maddox's channel that is 3 hours long, called When Fans Become Stalkers. This was just like a month ago that this happened. And it's a whole 3-hour documentary that is set to convince you that Dick is an awful guy who is irredeemably awful and evil, and that Maddox is an innocent victim, and that he's been the target of an unfair harassment campaign full of Nazi sympathizers and rape apologists.
Jesus Christ.
And
Now remind me, is this supposed to be Maddox's magnum opus or whatever?
magnum opus would be the term. I didn't come up with that, but that is the best term for it. So he makes this whole documentary. Me and Alex talked about it at length. If you want to hear, if you go listen to the Dickheads podcast, episode 14 on the Riely podcast mega feed, me and Alex talked about the cuckumentary in depth. But so yeah, suddenly Maddox is drudging all this shit up again when he was done. Like everything was done. They still made fun of him occasionally, but he wasn't even like relevant anymore. Dick has new enemies now. Like Maddox was a thing of the past mostly, but then he dives back in, and he wants to convince everybody that he's the hero when he's so obviously the villain, and it's just he's so insane. Just move on, George. That's all you had to do. You still have like some shred of like LA clout. You could have climbed yourself back to, if he had just ignored Dick, if he had ignored Dick entirely from day one, if he had just cut ties, he might still be successful to this day. But he destroyed his entire life by going so hard onto Dick and all of Dick's people that he destroyed his own career and his own reputation beyond any repair.
I guess you could say he's a real dick writer.
And he's still at it. He brought it back. It's just, that's why I said, like, I made a big long post on the Dick Show Facebook group after he released the Justin Wang video where it was like, oh my God, George, just, dude, do something else. Leave him alone. You lost. The court of law declared you the loser several times. Give up. But he won't give up.
Like the All-American Reject song says, move along.
But he won't give up. And he's still at it. He's so invested in this little documentary that what he's doing now, he released it in the stupidest way possible because he released the full video, full 3-hour documentary. And now what he's doing is he's posting every chapter individually as their own video after releasing the full video already. So he releases the whole thing that everybody already had in their subfeed and watched. And now because there's like 15 chapters in this video. So now for the next like 15 weeks, Maddox is just posting the same content that he already posted. And it's all about how Dick Masterson is some awful guy who's a terrible man and has done awful things, whatever. And he's so determined. He can't be stopped. No matter how hard you beat him down, he keeps crawling back. He won't give up. The fight is lost, but he keeps going in.
Chickabow.
And it's gonna keep going until he dies homeless on the streets, because Dick Masterson has destroyed every shred of humanity he has left. Because he's inviting it upon himself. And that's why Maddox is an issue. I spent literally an hour. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to try to condense it a little bit, but it's
Honestly, dude, I'm not even mad. I appreciated the another history lesson on Maddox. Definitely interesting.
It's just so insane. Now, before we move on and we do a fun little Gingy issue before we close out, I want to give Gingy the floor for a minute to talk about what he just heard. So, Gingy, what did you learn today in Maddox class?
Just 4 words, I would say to Maddox. Just 4. Just tap out, bro.
Yeah, right?
You have been thoroughly bent over the bed, table, ledge, what the fuck ever, with no lube. You have been sufficiently ass fucked, sir. Just stop. Disappear from the internet.
He thinks he's the hero. He's so narcissistic and mentally warped that he will always think he's the good guy. No matter what happens, he's always the hero. And that's why Maddox is the largest issue, and you should vote for him in the poll. Gingy? Give us something. Close us out.
Lag and video games suck.
Lag in video games. That's a good one. Tell us why.
Agreed.
Specifically with Call of Duty, because I've been trying to keep myself awake this entire time, and lag has gotten me killed multiple times. It's taking all of my self-control to not fucking snap.
Yeah, lag is really annoying. Like, my internet is like really shitty, and I don't know why. I probably need a new router because I've had this router for fucking like 10 years or whatever. But
oh my, yeah, I've been fighting the urge to throw this controller across the fucking living room. I swear to God.
But I'll play Fortnite sometimes, and shut up. I'll play Fortnite sometimes, and sometimes the lag gets so bad that I'm like teleporting across the map and shit. Like it's really annoying.
I have a buddy I talk to in one of my other communities. Yeah, he hates lag. Yeah, definitely 0 out of 10 on Yelp.
Yeah, that's literally it. I mean, I can understand lag and slowness in like downloading fucking video games and shit, but lag in multiplayer games and suffering as a result is my problem.
Yeah, it's kind of inescapable. It's one of those things that like will be a problem forever, because there's no way to have the perfect internet connection. Like, there's always going to be hiccups.
Isn't there some fucking random ass fucking Sweden grandma that has insane fucking internet?
Well, there's plenty of people who have insane fucking internet, but even if you have the most insane internet on the planet, there's always going to be some sort of like some issue to be had.
And so, it's like, most likely like not even going to be on like the internet, like your internet side. It's probably going to be on the server side for whatever you're playing.
Yeah, that's true too. And it's just it's an inescapable reality of the gamer life that is just so infuriating sometimes. Okay, we gonna close out on an issue that brief? All right.
Yeah,
I guess we have
honestly,
been here a while.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I took so long on that.
Dude, you are perfectly fine, man.
You guys
I honestly
don't mind, but
that.
I feel like people are gonna complain, but we'll see what happens. But folks, thank you for listening to I almost said largest issue in the galaxy. I'm thinking about Maddox so much. Well, thank you for listening to the Issue Crew. Gingy, where can our listeners find you?
Twitch.tv/PPAFGingy. At the doctor's office for fucking blood pressure and pixel polygons and fun.
There you go, Kang.
I actually took the Riely route, and I actually finally set up a link tree.
Hey, yo.
So you can find me at linktr.ee/Grimrealm.
I didn't even think you had links to Tree. I thought you just had a Twitter.
What the fuck?
Oh no, I actually had a few links to like fucking dude, and I realized, oh, you have a link tree. I might set myself up one of those fancy little link trees.
One of them fancy little link trees.
But yeah, you can find me at that link. I have more shit to probably get added on top of that shit, so stay tuned.
And alright, gamers, you can find me at my link tree, which has all sorts of cool shit in it. linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe is in the description. It's on my Twitter in the pinned tweet at Riely Tweets. All sorts of cool stuff there. Particular shout outs to Detour Ahead, which is a weekly comedy podcast I do with my good friend Alex. We pick a topic. We don't always stick to the topic, but we do a podcast. It's pretty cool. Listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all sorts of podcast platforms, or on YouTube on the Colo Chew YouTube channel. And also, you can check out my YouTube channel, Riley and Friends, where I do a show called Riley Radio Live, where I try to go live at least once a week. And I have some people call in, and we just do a fun little casual talk show. And it's a fun live show. You can come hang out and chat. Or if you miss it and you want to listen to the archive, I post a little bit of a cleaned up version with some noise canceling and some silence cutting over on the Riley Podcast mega feed, which is available wherever podcasts are found. So you can check out the archive there or catch live shows on my YouTube channel, Riley and Friends. And that's it. Thank you for listening. Very action-packed episode. And that's it. Oh shit, I almost did the old I've been Riley shit. That's from other shows. I'm Riley, and my issue was Maddox.
I'm Kang, and my issue was recycling.
No, it wasn't.
Or something along those lines. I wind up usually forgetting my
electric
issues.
cars.
Electric cars. There you go. There you go, kiddo.
Fun fact, I have an electric car, so fuck you, King.
Gigi, what was your issue?
Video game lag fucking sucks.
Lag in video games.
Understandable, man.
Again, Demigloom's issues earlier in the show were non-tippers and mental hospital food.
I feel like Riley's vote is ineligible because it was so fucking long.
I don't know about that. I don't think anybody will vote for it because it was too fucking long. But thank you for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Auf Wiedersehen, dann letzte Jose Art.
Oh wait, I forgot to say something.
What?
Don't forget to DM me. I'm all ears.
Fuck you.